can see your sound's not. There we go. Hola.
How are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad.
I've already started recording because there's always something that happens at the start and it's like, I need that, and it's already gone. So it's already recording, so just be aware.
Are you, you must be relieved to finally get home.
It's yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. We've got 3 levels on our place, so it's kind of easy because I'm now top floor with bedroom ensuite, so it's sort of like,
oh, lovely,
nice and easy to sort of self-isolate. I can wave at the kids down the hall and Rosie, so it's yeah, it's yeah, it's one of those, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I can't imagine what it must have been like. Yeah, I mean, it's just...
have you had to do anything? Have you been away and back and there and anywhere?
Well, I went to the World Cup,
yep.
And
of course
I got back on the Wednesday after the World Cup final, and then probably by the Saturday it was all starting to become a bit real and like, oh dear, this could be serious. And then and then obviously it's just been carnage since then, really.
So did you have to do any sort of stay in by yourself because you travelled, or did you just...
No, there was nothing like that. I mean, I think we've been pretty relaxed, if I'm honest, about letting people in and you know, really not self-isolating. So yeah, I did.
Right.
I probably did it without even realising. Yeah.
No, it's I think this country's a bit a bit relaxed, a bit too relaxed.
Well, New Zealand, Jacinda, she's got it fast, doesn't she?
Oh,
she's got it.
She's the boss, man. She needs to take over the whole wide world. Had that conversation with too many people. So we'll go away. Is that cool? Yeah. I think we're
good to go.
Recording. Charlotte Edwards, this is cool. I got to speak to Queen of New Zealand cricket, Susie Bates, last week, or maybe 10 days ago, and now I get the Queen of UK cricket, and it's this is cool. So thank you for saying yes. Thank you for giving me a break in my isolation days. How you doing? How's things?
Yeah, good. I mean, it's it's pretty testing time, isn't it, at the moment? But probably the most time I've ever had at home, I think, in probably about 10 years. But yeah, I mean, I'm actually quite enjoying it. It's quite relaxing. Just hopefully things will get back to normal quite soon. But I think the right place is to be inside at the moment and keeping safe.
Have you you were out at the World Cup, weren't you? So you're not long back from what, for a lot of people, quite life-changing. For the sport, quite life-changing. For the industry, quite life-changing. What are your sort of reflections on being out there for that?
It was just a great event. I think we all knew going into the World Cup it probably could be a real game changer for the women's game. I think everyone just hoped that all the talk going into the World Cup was 90,000 people, the MCG, International Women's Day, and I think how the tournament started, we were a little bit worried that Australia wouldn't make the final, and therefore that big crowd might not be there on the final. But honestly, being there at that final was probably one of the proudest moments in the women's game I've had. I think I was at Lord's in 2017, and that was special. But to be there and just to see the whole thing, and see all the people, and I kind of walked into the ground, and I've never seen that many people, and to think that they're going to be there for a women's World Cup final. I think most players that have played the game or ex-players would have stood there and sort of been very proud of where the game's got to.
Couple of deep breaths required, or are you a bit sort of do you let it get to you, those sort of moments where, because you've paved a lot of it, and don't play that down at all, please. Do you have to sort of go, wow, this is kind of on the back of some of the stuff that we did, that I did? Do you, or can you just sort of walk in and go, wow, this is cool?
I just sort of, wow, this is cool. And there's days where, I couldn't think of anything worse than going back to play cricket, if I'm honest, since I've retired. But do you know what? The 2 days that I've probably wanted to play cricket are Lords in 2017 and the recent World Cup final. I think they're days that you think, oh, that would have been amazing to play in front of that many people and be at such an amazing event. I mean, to think that Katy Perry was there as well. I mean, I love singing, so I mean, it was just the perfect. It was just the perfect day, if I'm honest.
And you like dancing too. You like dancing as well. I've heard as well. You and Heather are particularly very good at dancing, if I remember rightly.
I'm useless at dancing, but I like singing. I'm not very good at singing, but I enjoy it, and that's the main thing I've been told. But yeah, I mean, Katy Perry Firework is probably one of my favourite songs as well. So you kind of had to pinch yourself to think that she was there performing.
Good.
And then afterwards, and then seeing the Aussie girls on the stage with her, I mean, God, I think any ex-player would have done anything to be on that stage. And I don't think anyone will ever beat that day, if I'm honest. That many people, that event after the game, it's incredible.
Admittedly, I was pretty jealous of those Australian girls up there on stage, busting some shapes, pulling some serious shapes. But and you just said, yeah, you had to pinch yourself. So there is a little bit like you would have loved to have gone back and done 17 and done this World Cup just gone. Is there? This is a cheeky one. A bit of jealousy that you couldn't, that you were born 5 years too early.
No, I don't think I've ever been that sort of player that's finished the game.
Wrong word. I shouldn't say jealous, but I think you know what I mean. You know, like, gee whiz, I wish I was born 5 years later because I could be here.
Yeah, yeah. If there's any, yeah, I think there's probably pros and cons of the current game now. But yeah, those big occasions and to play in front of that many people and be on the world stage like it was, I mean, yeah, I think you'll never better that. But like, you know, the game's changed enormously even in the last 4 years since I've stopped playing. And you know, there's so many things I don't miss about it. There's so many things I do miss, but you know, I don't envy any of them now because it is a different game. And you know, I've had my time and I've bloody enjoyed it. So
It didn't quite finish how you would have liked it. I think I can say from afar. I spoken to you a few times. I can read between the lines, I think, reasonably well. But I don't think it was quite your terms when it came down, when it finished, when the curtains pulled together.
No, not at all. And you know, it did all come to an abrupt end. And at the time, you know, I was, you know, I guess it was just a really tough time because it really came out of nowhere, if I'm honest. So you know, you're preparing for a summer and then suddenly you get told that you know you're no longer in anyone's plans. So yeah, I mean, it took me a good time to get over, probably, you know, 6 to 12 months. But I think, you know, looking back on that time, I remember, you know, my mum at the time said all good things come to an end, and I think she was absolutely right. And now I think that things happen for a reason. And do you know what? I've moved on with my life. I'm enjoying everything I'm doing now. So it probably, in many ways, was a good thing for me. But at the time, I didn't see that because, you know, I was incredibly passionate about playing cricket for England, and I still thought I had a little bit more to give. But you know, it's not always a fairy tale ending. Like I found out, and but I've you know, I thoroughly enjoyed my career, and I think at the time I struggled to look back on my career and think, oh, that was amazing. But I think now down the line, I thought, yeah, I enjoyed it, and I you know, I don't have many regrets other than really just the way it ended.
Yeah. Look, I mean, you can't fix that. You can't change a lot of that in terms of your regrets. But you said 6 to 12 months, and I'm going to use the word mourning because mourning isn't to be sad, as in because I know that feeling in terms of even when I finished it and when I've had other jobs finish on me, there is a period of mourning if you love it and you have devoted what you can to it. How'd you get out of bed some days? Because it's pretty average. Like it's pretty horrible for me. I'm not going to project.
Do you know what? I'm probably, you know, anyone that knows me, I'm a pretty positive person. I just did I got on with life pretty quickly because I just didn't want to, you know, just sit in my room and you know, in effect, probably get more and more down about what's happened. I tried to make, you know, a positive out of something that was yeah, pretty difficult to deal with at the time. So I basically threw myself into anything and everything, and moved on. And I think the best thing that I did was I went that following winter and played in Australia, and I played for South Australia and the Adelaide Strikers. And I think spending a period of 3 months on my own, where I had to, in effect, grieve, I think. Because the 6 months at home, there was so much going on. I was doing some TV work, I was playing for the KSL. So actually, I probably didn't have time to really get over it, because I just got on with life. But it was that 3 months, which in a way was hard, but it got me through the process, and I was ready to move on with my life, in effect. So yeah, I always sort of attribute that sort of time in Australia as a hard, but time that I moved on from what was, part of my life, which was cricket, wasn't it, for so many years.
Yeah, and you had made it easier for other people to play cricket on the back of what you've done. So there is a lot that to mourn, apart from getting on with your life. What was, and this is where it gets where I get awkward, and I try and get out of you what made you you. And so your 3 months in Australia, where you spent a lot of time alone, but you're playing, so you're still in social circumstances, you're still in team environments, you're still deep inside the game of cricket, and that was healthy for you. What part of that was the healing? What part of that was the?
I think just spending some time on my own without any other distractions going on. So actually, I realised that I didn't want to play cricket anymore, which was a good thing for me.
You didn't want to play cricket anymore, or you had some hate?
No, I just didn't want to play. I knew that I'd probably lost my motivation to play, and therefore I was starting to look at other things. But I just needed to play that last summer and actually give it a good go, and I played really well, actually, and I was happy with where I was, and I put a lot of, although I said I didn't want to play, I still put a lot of time into my cricket, but I just knew that was in effect my time to just walk away from the game, which had given me so much, but I knew I was ready to sort of put my back down and move on.
Do your knees thank you now, though? Because that was a lot of your problem, wasn't it? You had bad knees. It was we talked about it down at the St Spitfire ground, St Lawrence, or whatever it's called now, about your knees and looking for some different treatments and things like that. And you were having some success with some stuff, but that was one of the bits that was holding you back towards the end.
Yeah, no, I had a big knee up when I was younger, and then just progressively got worse throughout my career. And so I was having these injections which were really helping, but yeah, by the end that it was becoming quite tough to do all the training that was required. But and I probably realised that when I was in Australia, the amount they ran, and I tried to keep up with them, and it wasn't happening. So I knew for my body I needed to step away as well.
And then the other side of the coin, you were. It was the curtain was pulled down on you, but it was a really good time to get into media, though. So in some ways, you finishing earlier than you wanted to gave you bigger front door entry into media. Do you see that as a one partial spin-off benefit?
And yeah, that's probably what I touched on earlier. Although things happen for a reason, don't they? And I think it opened up so many more avenues for me. Media being one of them. Then the KSL was just coming in at that point. So I played the last couple of years there, which the last year I shouldn't have played, but I did. And then that led into a role with the Southern Vipers and down here at Hampshire. So I've moved down to Hampshire, which has been a great move for me. I think it's just got me away from what I was used to, and I thoroughly enjoyed the time at the club. So yeah, I'm really enjoying my life down here. So yeah, a lot of things happened as a result of me finishing, which might not have happened had I kept playing.
But you still would have loved to have played for a little bit longer, wouldn't you? You'd still give it all back to play a little bit longer, wouldn't you?
Yeah, do you know what? Now I've probably, I think it probably was the right decision. But at the time, I just didn't I just didn't feel like I was ready. But it's all worked out really well, and I don't look back on it and think, oh, I should have played it. What happened, and I'm really comfortable with it. But it clearly wasn't my choice at the time. But sometimes decisions are made for you or are the right ones.
Yeah, but I'm one of the few that in cricket I got to go out on my terms, and there is so very few in terms of injuries and selections and those sorts of things. But there's been a whole lot of other things where it hasn't been my choice, and it sucks. It sucks a lot, and often there isn't an upside like you've turned this into an upside.
Yeah.
So just because you've been a good person, just because kind of cricket owes you a little bit, do you, like you said, everything happens for a reason? I don't necessarily agree with that, but that's my thoughts. Like, things happen to good people. Is that kind of, you've been a good person to the game? You've been a good...
Yeah. I had one person said to me when I finished, they said, cricket looks after good people. And I kind of now look back and I think they're probably right. I guess throughout my career, you have given a lot to the game, and a lot of it was completely amateur at the time, so the first 10 years. So yeah, maybe that is right. I'm never going to blow my own trumpet, but I'm just very, very fortunate, like you say, that I've had stuff to go to. I've had teams to be involved in, which had I not, that might have been very, very difficult. So yeah, I am the fortunate one, because I know now a lot of players that are finishing may have struggles, and we hear a lot about mental health at the moment within the game, and you do fear for some people that have played long careers and don't have the opportunities when they've retired.
Are we entering a new realm in the women's game where there is a career in it, and so some of the girls that then turn into ladies and women, they have only known cricket? Because say when you started, it was amateur, so you would have had to have had a job, you would have had to have done stuff, and we've got girls coming through into university, from university into professional game. Are we getting to a point now where it's sort of catching up to the men's game, where women are going to leave the game with cricket and no real direct other skills? Are we getting to that point, which is cool, but it's also really scary?
Yeah, I do fear for some players. I think I was, I do look back and think I was so lucky I got to work, because firstly, it made me appreciate when I got my contract, because work is a lot harder than playing cricket, let me tell you. And I think, playing cricket was actually, the best. I had 3 or 4 years where I was a professional cricketer, and it was amazing. The fact that I could dedicate all my time to playing the game. But I look at some of the players now. I personally think a lot of the governing bodies should look at sending players out to work experience, to gain some life experiences, to understand what a normal person does in a normal job, because actually when they have a really bad day at cricket, it's not that bad. It really isn't.
Well, what's your worst day? Go on then. You line that one up, and I'll run with it straight away. What's
my worst day in cricket?
Yeah. What was it? The day they said thanks very much, catch you later?
No, I think that. I think any game, big game you've lost. I think World Cup finals, we came. They were always tough games. I wouldn't look back on my retirement as a tough day. It was just something that. But I hated losing. Anyone who played against me or knew me, never enjoyed losing.
What happened when you lost? What was Charlotte Edwards like when the team you were playing and lost?
No, it would be. I mean, you wouldn't be too. I mean, it all depends what type of game. But generally, the bigger the game, the more people just went and sat down and just sort of reflected on it, because there's no time for shouting and hollering at people. It's they're pretty disappointed. Everyone's really disappointed. So it was. I mean, it was normally quite a calm affair with the girls, and often I think what we used to do is the next day review it, because obviously women are quite emotional and not the same as guys, so we tend to give ourselves 24 hours to get over it all. But
at the same stage, in terms of dealing with it and getting over it, it's a very different changing room, I guess, I'm not sure, because the culture around the men's game is play and then have a few, if you don't have a game for a few days, have a few beers and a few wines, etc. Is that quite the same in the women's game? Is there that, I'm not going to say drinking culture, but is there that kind of culture in the women's game? Because from outside looking in, it doesn't seem it. Is there?
No, it's not. It's not at all. I think the only time the players would, the teams I've been involved in would have a big night would be the last night of the tour, and I think everyone looked forward to that. I think it's a very different culture.
Yeah.
Drink doesn't really play a big part in that. I think probably initially that was because a lot of us were amateurs. When we went away on tour, it was like, we've worked so hard for this, we've given up so much. Why are we going to get drunk every night and feel vulnerable the next day in the game or whatever? So I think that's probably changed. I haven't been around one of the professional teams recently, but I would imagine that drinking doesn't play a part now, because again the girls work hard. But I'm not saying at all they don't have a big last night, because I would imagine they'd enjoy that.
But when you've got sort of 3 days off, played one day, you got 3 days off, you're going to travel the next day. In a men's changing room, there might be 4 or 5 in the change room and another couple in the bar. So let's say 6 beers in the night. There would be no comparable sort of time together with 7 or 8 wines in that sort of scenario. That wouldn't happen in the women's game.
No, but I think it's something that I've spoken to a lot of male coaches about, that actually I think we miss out on a lot in the women's game through probably not having that time in the bar talking about cricket. I think men sit in the bar and actually chew the fat over, okay, how are we going to get this guy out? And I think they actually talk cricket a lot more, whereas the women would never go in the bar and talk about cricket. It'd be about something completely different. And I think we probably miss that part in the women's game, which I think there's a huge amount of learning. I talk to a lot of guys, they've learned so much in the bar and talking to some of the best players in the world. And I think that's maybe an area of the women's game, could improve. They don't have to drink, but I think just talk more about the game.
I was going to say, you can bring in a drinking culture with the Southern Vibe, with the Vipers, get that started. Just cracking open bottles of cheap wine every night.
Yeah.
Rolling out with bottles rattling around in the bags. So that's not going to happen, you don't think?
No, but I do want the girls to talk more, and you've got to create an environment to do that. And it's just not natural at the moment, but hopefully in 2 or 3 years' time, that will become hopefully the norm, where we sit and talk about cricket.
I've sat and watched a lot of women's cricket and been excited and enjoyed it and loved it. But through the amount of cricket that's played, so fewer, so not as much, it's hard to sit back and watch the game not evolve as quick as you'd sort of think. And then I keep reminding myself that they don't get to play as many games of cricket, so they don't evolve in that same space of time. Is there, like you're talking about now here, bar talk or cafe talk or changing room talk, is there a way that you can push that, promote that, and get the game moving faster than the game's played column? Do you know what I mean? So get the game evolving quicker than the games you're playing.
Yeah, it's been one of I guess one of the hardest things in the game has been the lack of, I think, meaningful cricket. I'd say that I think it's I would say Australia have a meaningful domestic competition, which every week they go to a game and they're not sure who's going to win the game, whereas and they've got some high performers in those. At the moment in England, we're hopefully getting to that point where we'll have meaningful cricket week in, week out. The WBBL is arguably as harder than the World Cup, because every game you go to, it's really tough cricket. We haven't got enough of that, so you haven't got enough learning experience for the players coming through. Which in the men's game, you've got club cricket, haven't you, which is really strong in a lot of areas. You've got county second 11 cricket, which is tough cricket. Yeah, unfortunately, we haven't got that yet, but hopefully with the numbers coming through and the investment that ECB are making, hopefully in the next 5 years we'll be, we can have got there, but it's going to take time, I think, Ian, I really do. It's not going to be something that's going to happen very quickly.
I was talking to Frankie Mackay. So, Frankie Mack, New Zealand
Yeah.
I was talking to her the other day, and we were having a similar conversation in terms of how the women's game can speed up its how it moves and how it evolves without having game time, and without having, you called it, meaningful cricket. And does the game seek enough opinions? That's not me trying to be an opinionated, push an opinion. Is it receptive enough to outside opinions and outside stimulus, or is it still a little bit protective because girls are a little bit more emotional, women are a little bit more emotional, so there's a protective cocoon around that team bubble?
Yeah, I think it's getting better, but I still think even just the media criticism, the players, and I think the team struggle with that still. I think it is still relatively new, and the great thing about the game evolving is there is more opinions now, isn't there? We go to the World Cup, we're suddenly talking about whether England have got the right batting lineup, whether Perry should be batting at 3 or 7. This didn't happen 4 years ago. So I think the players welcome it, but I think they've got to be able to, certainly the growing of the game, but I think what comes with that is going to be criticism, and I think they've got to be more open to that, which I still think we've got a long way to go. I think Cricket Australia probably do it as well as anyone. I think they've probably got a model now where they've got a really good domestic model. Their team are obviously very successful at the moment. And just being over there, I mean, I've never seen media like it for the World Cup, and they were under so much pressure. They were under so much pressure to win that World Cup, but how they dealt with that is really admirable, really. Yeah,
they came back from nowhere and smashed the final. They were down and out, had to beat New Zealand, had to beat one more, and then smashed the final. They turned it on somehow, somewhere, a little bit like England team in the men's World Cup.
Yeah.
As well, sort of from nowhere, had to beat New Zealand and Australia and India, and then How did you do that? You must have played in teams that have all of a sudden just gone, oh, we're average, and something clicks and something works. You've played enough.
Yeah, no, I think you do. And I never used to worry too much about not playing the best cricket at World Cup early, because sometimes you needed to just hit your peak at the right time. And the Australians certainly did that, but they were under a lot of pressure. You could see they were nervous, and it was just about getting through. But what they have got, and what a lot of teams haven't, is they've got enormous depth and experience of playing high pressure games. So, they've got people coming in at number 7 who have played 50 WBBL games which have been on TV. In other teams, they haven't got that same experience. So I think what everyone needs to remember is that the Australians are very good and have got a lot of depth.
Going back to, do they have now this is just me sort of being a New Zealander and looking at Australians as people. Now they are typically a little bit more forthright with each other in terms of feedback. Do you think that has a bit to do with them being top of the game at the moment, and going back to what we were discussing before about trying to get women's teams more receptive to talking together and having those discussions and trying to provide feedback that is helpful?
Yeah, I think listening to a couple of their interviews, they clearly had some deeper meaningfuls throughout the World Cup. I think after one game against Sri Lanka where they just got over the line, and they talked about their batting, how they were going, their approach to batting. So yeah, clearly they can have much more honest conversations. They trust the environment they're in. So it looks like they've got a really good environment. I think the catalyst to that was after they lost the 2017 World Cup over here in the semi-final when Harmanpreet Kaur, and I think that really hit the team hard. And I think from that, it looks like they've become a much stronger group and potentially, more honest, and it's really helped them as a group. Or, sometimes adversity like they suffered that day against Harmanpreet is in the long run is really helped them.
So you're coaching now? You're still coaching, aren't you? You're still with Hampshire. You're still with the Vipers and your flash orangey salmon pink shirts. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, you like that colour.
Oh, orange.
You're kind of wearing that colour today. You sort of
Oh
represent.
yeah, no, that's no. I've not done this on purpose.
Brilliant. But is this? Are you finding a way to get that into your changing room, into your group of players, becoming a little bit more brutal?
Yeah, I mean, I'm quite an honest person, so I think you want that honesty around a group. I think the hard thing we have in England is that. Sorry,
it's hard with the age though of women's cricket, isn't it? Because a lot of them are still girls when they're making their moves.
Yeah, that is a delicate issue. You can be dealing with someone at 32, and then obviously dealing with a 15-year-old in your squad. So yeah, that is difficult. We also don't have as much time to create those relationships. Also, which I think is vitally important. Clearly that Australian team has been together, and the coach has been with that team, and it's a lot easier when you can build those relationships over a period of time. So that's something we're dealing with here. But yeah, I think I mean, any team I'm going to be involved in, there'll be some honest conversations. I just want the team to get better and be the best they can be as individuals. So yeah, I mean, but hopefully over time now we'll be able to spend that time. I think time is such a precious thing with players, and we they need time, they need people to listen to them, and often when you've only got short bursts of time with players, it's hard to put that time in. And but hopefully over the next few years that's something we can really build on.
How does it now, men's game, guy leaves changing room, goes home to his partner, his wife, his girlfriend, his boyfriend, whatever. Women's cricket, you go home, you go back to, a lot of you find it's harder to have a partner away from the game in terms of all the travel and those bits. How do you escape the game? How do you get away from get away from the game, or get away from the relationship so you can have freedom in the game? Do you follow what I'm saying? There's a
yeah. No, I mean, I'm really lucky with my family live about 2.5 hours away from here, so we've got a family farm, and I go back there and spend time with my 2 little nieces. And actually that's the best time. I haven't got kids myself, but they're the closest probably to having children I'm going to have. And whenever I'm with them, nothing else matters, because you just want to be present with them, you want to spend time and quality time, because I obviously don't get to see them very often. So they've really helped me, I think, after cricket as well, because they give you a lot of perspective, I guess, as people with kids know. But I can just hand them back, which is quite nice at the end of the day, and don't have to do all the nasty things. But yeah, that's my time away from cricket, and seeing my mum, who I don't get to see very often, get out on my bike, and that's what's been nice about this enforced break I've got here now. I can I don't get to see my family, but I can get and do some stuff and get fit again, which I need to do.
Hey, look, I'm gonna go somewhere that I feel really awkward about going, but as a male player, I can have children and play, and I can do that, and that's awesome. I stopped playing cricket so I could have children, so I'm a little bit different to most. Yeah. How do you guys deal with that scenario? How do you want to play professional era? There's money to be made now. There's places to go. There's travel. Yeah. There's opportunities, and then you still have to contemplate if you'd like to have children, if you can, if you want to. How do you contemplate that? And please, Charlotte, I feel really awkward asking that question, but it's one I've wanted to ask for a long time, and I don't feel comfortable asking it because it's man body, female body. You get what I mean?
Well, I think it's clearly becoming more of an option. I think we've seen a couple of players recently. I mean, I played with the 2 players who had children. Yeah. Laura McLeod, back when, and she had her kids young, so she could come back. Cool. And then Aaron Brindle had children and it was so difficult for them. They're very close friends of mine, and to watch them go through that when there was no money in the game, and they were losing money by lots of money by coming away. Being with Aaron Brindle when her kids were 2 or 3 years old, and watching her leave them, it was just awful. Yeah. But now you know, on the flip side, you know, you've got Amy Satterthwaite, who's just had
yeah.
young little Grace. You know, it's, you know, the opportunity, she can still come back and play cricket now, can't she? Because there's support there from New Zealand Cricket, who've been, by all accounts, amazing. And I mean,
is there more support now from the boards to allow you that opportunity, that freedom, that choice?
Yeah, because there's things in place now. There's, you know, the payments now to, you know, for the WBBL in Australia, the maternity cover that allows them to still come back and have their job when they're finished, or when they've done their year or whatever. Like Jess Duffin's is going to have a baby as well. Yeah. I think it's fantastic. And having babies around the team is such a good thing, I think, for the team, because it gives you that perspective. It gives, you know, I loved having Aaron's children around because it took my mind off actually the game at times. Harry was all he was worried about at breakfast was whether I was going to have Cocoa Pops or cornflakes. You know, he didn't care how many runs I got in the day. He just wanted me to have the right breakfast, which, I mean, it's the simple things, hey. But I, you know, I think now you're going to see a lot more players, hopefully, in their careers have children, and then hopefully come back. And, you know, because a lot of the players had to stop playing in the prime of their career, 28, 29. But now they can extend their careers to, you know, middle 30s if they can, and play. And it'll be interesting to see how Amy comes back. Actually, I think I think she's really missed her time from the game. And I think the team have missed her, if I'm honest. I think she's been such a big player for them over the last few years.
She's on my list. Don't
Is she?
Yeah, she's on my list. No, I'm going to get to her and her partner Leah, because I mean they've got this. You know, she's still playing, and it's like, that's cool, but that's really hard. But it's and then if Amy comes back and plays, you're going to end up, okay, I look at the New Zealand team at the moment, the men's team, and they're traveling with a lot more partners and a lot more children than they ever have done. And they, you know, they had two coaches over here during the World Cup. One coach was for partners and children, and the other coach was for players and sort of management, if you like. That's awesome. But there's more money in the men's game. Are we going to get to a point where there could be two coaches for women's cricket? We're going to have a coach full of partners and kids, and then the coach for the players. Do you think there is a time for that?
I don't know. In this current climate, I think everyone would just be happy. It's probably not the time to talk about it, but hopefully over time there is just going to be, it's just going to be accepted, and I think it is now, and I think that's the great thing. And I think a lot of players hopefully, you know, won't put off having children. And they'll have them when they want to have them, which suits their personal circumstances, rather than, you know, playing because, you know, they've got to earn money to a certain point. And hopefully we'll retain a lot of players who have got so much experience and so much to give.
Is there how many players? Who are some of the, you don't have to name names, but who are the ones that went out of women's cricket earlier than they could have, should have? You would have liked them to, in terms of what they still had to offer, but they felt that they had to go and do a job, or they had to go and have children. Are there a lot of players that you wish had have stuck around longer because they were that good and they could have changed your team?
Yeah, I think there was a lot of players sort of, you know, when I first got into the team, you just felt gave up cricket. Jo Chamberlain was one of them back in '93. She won the World Cup in '93, and I think she's only 24, 25. It's just, wow. And for me, she gave up cricket too early, and I felt like she was a person I could have learned so much from in my early years. And I always remember being really gutted. There was another lady called Susie Kitson, who was, again, such a big player for England. And a lot of that 93 group actually retired, because it's like, well, we've won a World Cup. Let's go and have children and so on. And, you know, really we've achieved what we need to achieve. You know, why keep playing something which we're losing money at? So there was a lot of players in my early years. Not so much as it went on. Probably Laura McLeod was one girl who had enormous talent, and probably, you know, she retired at 28 probably, which was, you know, too early for the talent she had. But I think we have managed to keep hold and retain a lot of the players in the last sort of 10, 15 years.
What drove you on? What drove you to keep going, to keep playing? World Cup success, just winning, just was it? What was your?
Sorry.
What was your thing? What made Charlotte Edwards tick?
Well, I think there was a number of things. I think winning was a massive part of it. Me being a better player. So I think as time went on in my career, there were more opportunities. There was more money. Not that you ever played for money, because it wasn't that much, but it meant that you could designate more time.
But you do.
To being better.
Yeah.
So there was lots of things happening throughout my career that just kept me wanting more. So, you know, I felt like I was getting better as I was getting older because of the opportunities and the resources that now are within the team. But yeah, winning and me being the best player I could be for that team, and obviously being captain of the team, it was, you know, a massive honour to do that. So, and I wanted England to be successful. So, you know, all that combined meant that, you know, massively, you know, passionate about what I did as well. And yeah, it kind of just kept me going.
Was there, look, I freely admit this now, that I played because it helped my ego, because it helped give me a place in the world, if that made sense. A lot of me trying to get better and me trying to have success was about me trying to be more liked or better liked. That's still bad English. Was there any of that for you? Could you cleanly split Charlotte Edwards, the cricket player, and Charlotte Edwards, the person? Or were you absolutely. I'm very different away from the cricket field, if I'm honest. And I think as a cricketer, I was very proud of my performance. I wanted to do the best I could for the team. It was all about performing for the team. It wasn't really for your individual benefit. But in terms of away from cricket, people keep saying to me, how are you coping in lockdown? You've been 3 weeks on your own. I said, I'm absolutely fine. I actually like my own company, and people go, but you love people. I said, yeah, I love people, and I love being around teams, and I love that side of things. But when I got home, I'd just be like, whew, you know, that's over, and I can just be at home and just potter around and and be, you know, I'm quite okay with my own company and stuff. So but yeah, no, it was all about the team and the cricket, really, and the passion for playing. Was it cool that you were Charlotte Edwards though? Did you enjoy that? No. Look, everyone enjoys it to an extent, I think. But did you enjoy that? There's adoration in what you're doing for what you do. I have a huge amount of adoration and admiration for what you did and who you are. Did you have some enjoyment or perspective on that?
Yeah, I was very proud of what I did, and I loved, you know, performing, and I loved, you know, being the one that potentially would win the game. And, you know, I got a real buzz from that. I guess that was my buzz, being that person that won the game for the team and so on. But I think that's probably as much as, you know, what was the other question as well there?
On just in sort of kind of like enjoying it, like it's not something you need, but gee whiz, it's a nice sort of extra blanket.
I love being. That's the one thing you miss, is being out there and that putting in that performance that wins the game. You know, and even just walking off the ground and, you know, putting your bat up. You know, there was real satisfaction in that. But
I didn't do that, Charlotte. That's not fair.
But I did thoroughly enjoy that. But I also now sit back and think, I know how much hard work went into that.
Yeah.
So I don't sit here now and think, God, I want to go and do that again. I watch players now and I can clap them off.
Yeah.
But I don't sit there and think, God, I want to be doing that again, because I know how much hard work and dedication that took to be that player, and, you know, at times how it took over your life.
Yeah.
It took over my life. You know, I just wanted to be the best, and actually I don't miss that at all now. I actually love now players going for interviews, and I just sit there and I just sit back now, and I just don't want to do anything other than if I have to.
Yeah.
and I'll always push other people forward because I've done my time. It was so draining.
Yeah.
It was part of your job as England captain, but it's so draining, and it's part of my life that I love, but I've done now, and I can tick that off.
Right, finally I've got you saying some of the things that I thought you'd say earlier, but like it being draining, and you enjoy going home and just being able to go and just being able to kind of close the doors and kind of hide away for a little bit and let the soul soak up being alone, as opposed to having to put on that Charlotte Edwards cape and front. How hard was it putting on that cape and strutting around and winning games for England and trying to win games for England? How hard was it?
It was more draining than I thought, and when you come away from it, like I didn't realise how much. Loughborough was a big thing for me. We used to train at Loughborough, and actually when I retired, not having to go there and realising how draining that whole thing was, it's not until you finish, you don't realise at the time you're in this bubble that is, it is enormously draining in terms of, for me it was anyway, being captain, you're having to front everything, and some days if you didn't feel it, you'd have to be the one with a smile on your face, and I often call it my poker face. You'd just have to go there and no one would know exactly how you felt. I don't miss that at all, because it was what you do, and you didn't ever think about it. It's not till you stop doing it that I go to Loughborough now, and I have this sense of dread when I drive in, because it gives me so many memories from when I played, about maybe how I didn't enjoy it at times, but you did it because you knew what the outcome of playing for England was, that it was walking out with all your team and so on, that was the thing that really drove you on.
I'm glad you said dread, because that was exactly the word that I was thinking, and then you got to it first. I said, like, how much did you dread going to Loughborough? Because it just turns into, we're going back to Loughborough, everything is the same. I've got to, as captain, I didn't have to do this, but I had to do it as a player. I've got to be bouncy and happy and be in charge and be, got to create the hustle, and I've got to be first there and get this organised.
Yeah.
Oh, how do you not end up drinking a bottle of wine a night? And I'm being serious. How do you not end up going and just need an escape?
I think the underlying thing was that I just had so much passion for what I did, so I didn't feel it at the time. I just thought, this is part of my job. This is part of my job as England captain. I've actually got to lead this, and I know in the evenings I would go back to my room in Loughborough, and again I'll never forget those rooms, and I used to just like be on my bed, and I could not open my eyes because I was so tired and drained from it all. But you get up the next day, you put the smile on your face, you get out there. But what I used to like was actually
Cocoa Pops or cornflakes? Cocoa Pops or cornflakes?
I used to come home, and at the weekends I used to spend weekends at home, and that was really my time away, whereas some players lived up at Loughborough, which I'm so glad I never did that, because I think I would have it would probably have affected me more had I been there the whole time. But it's it's funny what you look back on now as what you really truly believe or think about it.
Would you take your team now? Would you take them up to Loughborough for a short pre-season? Would you take them and give them that experience, or will you try and keep them away?
It's a great facility. You can't dispute that. But yeah,
I'm give you a tight chest, kind of like, oh God, here we go again feeling, isn't it? Would you take your Vipers up there?
Sorry?
Would you take your Vipers up there, your Southern Vipers up there for a short...
No, I'd take them down. It's much sunnier down here.
Yeah, and you've got that great facility next to the ground, haven't you, down there?
Yeah, I think that one of the reasons I moved down here is it's 3 degrees warmer and the sun's always shining. So I'm pretty happy down on the South Coast. What?
So it was just that job that took you down there, and you just thought, right, yeah, I'm shifting. I'm moving myself. I'm finishing cricket. This is actually quite a nice chop. New beginning, new start. Big part.
Yeah, like I said, I played the first 2 years of the KSL, and in my first year of the KSL in 2016, I just suddenly thought, I quite really like it down here.
Yeah.
And then the year after, I played another season, and I started to think, yeah, I'm going to have a look around for a place down here, because I think there was more and more. And then in 2018 sort of summer, I got offered the role as director of cricket down here. So it would all sort of happen quite quickly, and then I've been living down here for about 18 months now. So yeah, it's been great, and I think you're right. It's just given me a new start somewhere, and yeah, thoroughly enjoyed it.
And without that trip to those 3 months in Australia, getting yourself sorted, that you didn't quite realize that you need to get yourself sorted, it would be quite different, I guess.
Yeah, like, I was just lucky that came at the right time as well. I think it's all about timing, isn't it, some things, but yeah, that was a big part of my, like I say, my process of moving on, and yeah, thankful I did it.
What's on the itinerary this okay, this year's a little bit different. Let's go back 3 weeks, let's go back a month. What was on the itinerary for what was the itinerary looking like? How busy was it going to be for you this summer in terms of media?
It would have been extremely busy. My summers are so hectic, so it's hard to think of a summer without cricket at the moment. But yeah, I was going to be working with Hampshire and the Southern Vipers, and then doing a bit of commentary, and then coaching the Southern Brave in the 100 this summer. So that would have been, yeah, I've been putting the team together for about sort of 6-8 months. And yeah, so, hopefully, who knows, that might go ahead, but it's looking less and less likely. But hopefully, and then, I'd be going out to Australia for the WBBL in October. So yeah, it would have been extremely busy.
Oh, well, like, that's awesome, yeah. Like, you would have, given, what I mean, you've transitioned so well that's tough, yeah. And you see the men's game, and you see how hard that is to transition out. And what Players Association big help, or is this a lot of just based on your being a good person, which you're not going to appreciate me saying, because you're going to smile weirdly at that.
I haven't had much help, if I'm honest. I haven't sought much help. I've done a lot of it myself.
What on you?
Through the people I know, and contacts of other people, and yeah, I could not have been any luckier. I don't think the transition has been seamless, if anything. And the fact I don't miss cricket is such. The thing I was dreading most about finishing playing was how much I'd missed playing.
Yeah.
And the fact that I can't think of anything worse than going out on a cricket field and playing cricket is a really good place, a really happy place for me to be in. But I massively want to be involved in the game, and I love it.
Better? Is it almost better now than it was when you were playing, to an extent?
Yeah, I mean, I'm so happy, and I couldn't be happier in my life.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
And I've learned a lot about my cricket, and I've taken it into my coaching, and I'm thoroughly enjoying coaching at the moment. And yeah, like, although you finished when you did, there's so many opportunities now within the game, like you say, media, coaching, which weren't there 5 years ago. There was barely a full-time role in the game, was there? And now there is, and schools are doing coaching now, at private schools here. So, the game's on the up, which is fantastic.
And when you're away from cricket, it's out to the farm. You see your nephews. You see the kids.
Two nieces.
Sorry. And then what else? What do? You ride a bike? You don't run. I know you don't run. What do you do? What's your?
Well, I've got my bike sat here. I'm ready to go. I do my garden. I've got quite a big garden.
Hold on a minute. You're not that old.
Yeah. Well, I've had to get out there. I like cutting the lawn, actually.
Yeah.
And I'm quite close to the sea now, so I actually really love just going down to the seaside, and I've got so many friends down here now, which that's been a big part of me moving down here. There's some really lovely people at the club, and yeah, it's just a new start for me.
You any good at skimming stones?
I can't really throw anymore. My shoulders are getting too old.
You have to learn to throw left-handed, won't you? You'll have to learn to change arms.
Yeah, someone was saying that in my time off, I should learn how to
Yeah.
throw left arm spin or something. So I might have to do that.
Any good with the dog stick?
Yeah, I love the dog stick. Yeah, it saved many a shoulder, that invention. Let me tell you.
Just even that, the change in cricket and coaching, and the change in trainings, the what is expected out of a coach is so much easier now for you.
Yeah, but the coaching, you need to be really fit, and that's one thing I've realised. You can chuck so many balls in a session, and you know the players want more and more volume now because you know, so it's, you know, you have to be pretty fit to be a coach now, and that's hence why I'm going to do it while I'm young enough to hopefully learn as much as I can. I'm really enjoying that side of the game. It's I'm glad I sort of waited a few years to work out what I really did want to do, and it's something I'm really passionate about.
That best day of your life that you'll never ever forget, that one that sports psychologists say lock it in so you can go back to it, so you can have that success the next time. What's the best day in Charlotte Edwards' life on the cricket field? What is that day you go back to and you go, oh, it feels good?
I think there's team success and there's individual success, isn't there? So the team winning the World Cup in 2009 was one of those days that I'd love to go back to and relive. Individually, batting in the Ashes in 2014, 92 not out, I think, in a T20 game against the Aussies to win the Ashes. I think that was as well as I've played. So if I could go back to that and I knew that I could bat like that every time, that would be pretty special. But yeah, that, I talked about earlier having to put in those big performances for your team when they needed, and I guess I did it that day, which was really satisfying.
Did you have any to get the best out of yourself? Did you have I hate the word processes. Did you have things that you did? Did you have routines and rituals and superstitions? But more so, did you have any things that upstairs that got you into good places? It's like you're 92 in that Australia T20. Did you have to ask anything extra of yourself or take yourself somewhere to get that out of you?
I enjoyed being under pressure. I think that's one thing I realised. I liked performing, in the big games. So I think I identified when the team needed, and I often stood up in those games. Sometimes it's when there wasn't as much on the line. I struggled to get myself into that space, and I think I improved that throughout my career, if I'm honest. But I think what helped me in those was having a routine of how batting and technical stuff that I did, and you work on that throughout your career, don't you? And you get to a place, I reckon around 29, 30, I realised, right, this is what works for me. I've got to do this. I've got to be in this place to perform. And often it doesn't come off, but more often than not, hopefully.
What are these places? Are these places a physical thing in terms of your pre-delivery, or are these places a mental place?
Yeah, a lot of them were like routines in terms of, my technique. So making sure I was getting myself in good positions. But equally, it was just having a clear mind. I think a lot of time you can overthink things, and I didn't think I did it, but it's looking back, I used to visualize quite a bit of times when I'd done really well and I'd got through those really hard times. So I think it was just a bit of good, visualization and stuff that really helped me. But I was pretty simple, and I just needed to keep it quite simple and not overthink. But if I ever was struggling confidence-wise, I'd try and visualise times when I'd done really well and give myself confidence.
When you just couldn't get it off the middle of the bat, you couldn't get it. I know this feeling a lot. Yeah, come on. Yeah. But you know those days, and I just cannot get that ball in the right place. It is either a dirty half tracker or it's a dirty half volley, and it just won't come out. And there are days that you just like, what am I doing here? I am an imposter. What did you do on those days when your team needed you and you were feeling like that? Or when your team needed you, that didn't happen to you because of what you said? I
did. I remember a game really vividly in India where I could not hit the ball off the square. It was horrendous. I felt horrendous. But do you know what? I think as you got older, it was like especially in 50 over cricket, you've got more time than you think you've got. And I think you need to relax. And, you know, sometimes they can bowl well. And I think you acknowledging that, and you will catch up. And there was this one, I think I had about 10 runs off about 40 balls, it felt like anyway. And I went on to get 100 in quite an important World Cup game. And I think you also learn a lot from your previous experiences as you get older. You think, I did it then, just hang in a bit longer, you're going to be fine. It will come.
Yeah.
And I think I used to pull on old, you know, previous experiences a lot. And I get that question asked so many times now as a coach.
Yeah.
You know, people who, you know, they struggle either with form and so on. And it's such a difficult thing to try and explain because everyone's very different. You were
fortunate enough to have those experiences of success.
Yeah.
So then you could drag it, and you having girls now coming to you, and I say girls because, you know, the younger ones in your team going, if I'm getting bogged down here because they're bowling really well or I can't hit it, whatever, both combination of both, there's no experience for them to go sit in, relax, and find a way through it. How do you get that across to them?
Yeah, you know, you try and make it as simple as possible. You've got, you know, and make them think they've got, you know, like I said, more time than you think. So don't panic too early. You know, a lot of players panic and then play a rash shot. And if you're going to go big, play to your strengths. Don't try and do something you don't normally do. That's generally what people do under pressure. They do something completely random. So, you know, and one thing, you know, I think I've said in T20 cricket, don't play for a score. Like, the worst thing you can do is don't play for a score. Don't be content with just getting ones. You've actually got to actually look to strike the ball because you get in really good positions then. But that comes back to your practice. And a lot of people, when you're out of form, go into the nets and try and hit the ball so hard, get into horrendous shapes trying to hit the ball. Where actually, if you just had a process to go through of routine, technical routine, I think that would really help. But, you know, it's very individual. And I just try and pass some information, knowledge that I've gained over a career, which, was okay in the end.
We always go, it was okay, don't we? We always say that. We always go, yeah, that was an all right, you know, I sort of did okay. It was all right. You did awesome, and I'm a massive fan. And thank you so much for spending. Yeah, it's just about an hour. Thank you kindly for your time. Having one of the absolute legends of the game in this country, UK, where we are now. I appreciate your time, Charlotte. That was really cool. And your coaching and etc. This summer, if it all happens, I hope everything happens at some stage soon in it. And you go and change a few girls' lives.
Oh, thanks very much, Ian.
Yeah, you get a chance to change girls' lives now. Like, you get to watch girls turn into women and change their lives. Actually, I'm not finished. Yeah. I'm not finished yet. We're not finished yet, Charlotte. How cool is that?
That's probably one of the, you know, the most powerful things now is that, you know, you can really help these young girls coming through, you know, sharing your experiences, just helping them, guide them along the way, and hopefully reaching, you know, whether they play for England, whether they play county cricket, you know, but just helping them along the way. And we didn't necessarily have that person or that role model to look to. And I think young girls now have some extremely inspiring role models to look to in women's cricket, which, you know, unfortunately when we were growing up, you know, they often weren't in the game because there weren't the opportunities. So, yeah, I'm in a really privileged position.
Oh. You use the right words too, don't you? You're well trained, really privileged. You use all the right words because you spent so much time being that front person.
But I think hopefully what I want it to be is genuine. I genuinely.
No. Sorry, yeah. I wasn't. But yeah. I wasn't being cheeky. Apologies, Charlotte. That was like, you have been that front person for such a long time, though, as well.
Yeah.
You do have all the right words, and I wasn't diminishing what you were saying. Sorry, Charlotte.
No, and I hope people, that's the one thing they'll hopefully think, that, you know, it is genuine. And I genuinely would rather be down at a cricket field any day of the week than probably commentating on a game. I'd rather be helping someone than probably criticising someone on the TV or so. So yeah, hopefully that comes across.
I said to Susie, I said, if she ever needs some balls thrown, I'll throw some balls for her. If you ever need to hit some, I'll throw some balls for you, Charlotte. I'll let you. You won't even have to move your feet. You can play like Damien Martin and just not move your feet.
Oh no, I don't want to pick up a bat again, to be fair.
Charlotte, thank you so much. That was really cool. Do you like my poppy? Is it nice?
Yeah, it's great.
All right. Hey, thank you.
Thank you.
I'll stop the recording.
Cheers, Ian.
Yeah.